Was never the kind of name you'd find etched into medals or sung in candy-coated ballads. He was an everyman, vitamin supplier, lunch packer, fiction scribbler, the kind of guy who lived his real life between the lines of stories he wrote when nobody was looking. It started quiet, like most things in the Candy Kingdom, until a sudden shriek bled out from behind the bushes, and then stirred something in him. Not fear, not heroism, just an itch in his fizz that wouldn't let him look the other way. It wasn't a dream this time. Not some make-believe plot on his typewriter. This was a real case. The kind they don't talk about in the Candy Kingdom because sweet things aren't supposed to go missing. Root Beer Guy wasn't trained. He wasn't asked. There's a moment in every tale where nobody decides they've had enough of being invisible, where routine breaks and instinct takes over. This was that moment. And somewhere between the first clue and the final confrontation, something changed. The vitamin supplement salesman became the detective. The daydreamer became the one chasing truth through sugar-glazed shadows. Root Beer Guy didn't go looking for no trouble, but apparently trouble liked root beer.
Bingo bango.
Bingo bangus bongus, man.
Oh, well, ain't that really something? Ned,
ain't that something?
How you doing, man? Welcome to Adventure Time, the NEA podcast. As you know, as you just heard, we're talking about Root Beer Guy today, season 5, episode 43. And I am stoked for this one. I had the right little fun intro for us. It felt appropriate. It felt kind of noir-esque this episode. I love a good mystery, a good murder mystery, even though this isn't really a murder. But
it's almost.
It could have been a murder. I mean, who knows? She has Princess Bubblegum is in this Butterscotch Lake and has some snorkeling gear, but I mean, who's to say that butterscotch is like thin enough? I don't know how it all works. I don't know. It just feels like sketchy. It feels sketchy.
Yeah, butterscotch is sketchy. I don't like butterscotch. I don't really know anybody that particularly likes.
So thick and sticky. I can't imagine it's great for snorkeling or not snorkeling, scuba diving.
Scuba diving, no, it's not. Didn't taste good either. That's a bad thing.
It's not the best. It's very grandparenty.
Yeah, when has everybody walked around and been like, "Hey, man, I'm really digging. I'd love a Heath bar today." You know,
yeah, I don't
toffee,
know.
butterscotch, chocolate. No, not gonna happen.
Dude, I'm glad you didn't ask me for a candy bar with butterscotch in it because I wouldn't even know. I have no idea. You know, but what is nougat? Can you tell me what nougat is? Because it's in freaking every candy bar.
Just like a combined bit of sugar together, like to where it's just like sticky. Creamy stick sugar.
Speaking of eating candy, the Candy Kingdom characters eat candy, I guess. That's confirmed for this episode. So they're all cannibals to some degree. It's not just Stachi.
No, are you talking about the big baby in the beginning?
No, I'm talking about when they were having dinner, Root Beer Guy and his wife, Cherry Cream Soda, they were having, he goes, "What is this?" And she goes, "It's candy." He goes, "Oh,
yeah. There's something, the same thing with like how Lego people are, they should be freaked out because their houses are made of the same thing their flesh is made out of.
That's fair.
You know, so their car is made out of their flesh. Their flesh is made out of their house material. Like, should be something that, but yeah, they probably don't think anything of it, but no. I don't know. We eat meat. We're made of meat. We're made of meat. We eat meat. So not the craziest thing ever.
That's true.
It's their organic matter. Let's think about it like that.
I like that. Okay. Well, Ned, here's the thing. Yeah, it's not like Starchy where Starchy might actually be eating candy people, according to one of our theoretically speakings from forever ago. Ned, Root Beer Guy is a vitamin salesman, and he's pretty distracted, obviously, with his job. He's got a pretty bad job. And he certainly ain't got no leads. And it might be because he's not very good at his job. But I was wondering if this episode struck pretty close to home for you, seeing as, one, you're a salesman to whatever degree, not necessarily cold calls anymore. But at one time you were doing a lot of cold calls.
Yeah.
And, did you have a script like he's been told to read this? But first, let me ask you, do you ever feel like no matter what you eat, you're still feeling tired and sluggish and filled with nagging anxiety and doubt? Like, he's got this, even though that's probably him rambling and getting distracted as that goes on, the nagging anxiety and doubt. I kind of wonder if that's just him kind of ad-libbing or improvising. But did you have a script when you were doing cold call sales?
I think when in newer sales, you definitely try not to go on a script. You try to go like we script some stuff out. We have like some methodology. I really don't like going so by the script, like read this word by word off the piece of paper.
Okay.
But we have like, hey, when you enter the call, like you have kind of a strategy to keep them on the call. And then you want to be like, well, I've been reaching out to people like blah, blah, blah. And you kind of like have to do it based on who you're calling. I've been reaching out to people in XYZ industry. They seem to be having pain points. You know, you customize the pain points to what they would be experiencing from, again, whether it's a type of industry, whether it's a job role they have, what's called an ICP. So there's a lot of sales stuff in there, but the typical, this is a call center, read the script, make the dials, shut up and do it. We smile and dial. And nobody seems to be smiling and dialing at this place. We even have candy people going. But that was the thing that rang true a little bit more, was the people smoking outside the little chocolate bar, smoking his bubble pipe. Yeah. And the two conversations they have, first of all, is like, we should start our own business. We could do this totally better. Right. That conversation absolutely happens at some point in someone's career in a business like that.
It's easy to do this when you have the leads. Yeah,
and then, the leads is like, it's all about the leads, man. It's all about that's what I deal with on a daily basis.
Sales is great when you got leads, when you got someone interested in the product to begin with. It makes it a whole lot easier to sell something to somebody. Well, you had what I would consider to be probably the worst job in the music industry when you started out being a salesman for a certain PRO company. And I just was like, man, did it leave you longing for a better life, a life filled with more mystery when you were there?
Yeah, well, yeah. One, it was like I had to make money to live, and made me want to not have to get cursed out on the phone like once a day. So led me to bigger and better things for sure.
Yeah, this is just a little inside view of Ned having this sell, basically saying, hey, you owe us money according to the federal government like ruling or whatever, right? A copyright law or whatever.
It's like, well,
no one wants to pay it. No one
it's a loophole in the copyright law, and then the way the music industry got set up to where it's not illegal not to have a license, but it's illegal to play the music without a license.
And the license is like, well, I just play Spotify. It was like, well, you use our music and there's only 3 of them and you got to get a license from all 3. And if you're a small business owner, that ain't fun. That's not an expense you were planning for.
It's the industry could be flawed, or honestly, just like fixed by like one federal law of like, hey, if you get a business license, it contains a music license and we pay the PROs. Like, that's it. Be easy. But
pretty horrible job.
We don't tangent. It's a bad job that he has, and of course, you could see why he was absolutely longing for something else.
Right. Yeah,
and his passion, I guess, was just in reading books and wanting to be like a novelist. But
his mystery novels. He's super fascinated in mysteries. I mean, even his wife was saying it's like taking over his mind. He's so caught up in the desire, this longing for mysteries.
Yeah. And well, the whole thing that resonated in a lot of my deep thoughts will go into in a larger scope as well in this episode. But this takes an Adventure Time. Usually, what we started the show as is it's magical and it's mystical and there's all these creatures and it's candy. And now it's taking so much of what you're familiar with, which is candy people and princesses, and making it really real and relatable. That this whole story, it has a little bit of Finn and Jake in it, and it's got a little bit of PB, but it's really about, okay, what does like a normal life look like in the Candy Kingdom? And so the whole thing with him, like leaving in the morning, the subtle nuances, letting the cat out and falling asleep, the trouble at home, the trouble with cherry cream soda, that she wants to have a more intimate relationship. And with the French maid outfit, definitely a little sexy time intimate relationship.
Like maybe sexiest character of the episode.
maybe French maid cherry cream soda.
maybe so.
Where's I think I got Have Your Baby here somewhere.
Oh man, I don't remember this update in the sound system.
Oh no, no, we don't have it.
We don't have it.
Unfortunately,
I have it. I need to send it to you still. Yeah. Anyways, no, I love what you're saying. There's a reason why one of his quotes at the beginning of this episode is like, wow, that was really something. It's something he keeps saying over and over again to kind of describe, like, even in scenarios where he is seeing something, what we would consider insane, a giant, like, red monster is eating candy creatures and the Finnegan come in and save the day. And this is an epic moment that's occurring in the Candy Kingdom. But for him, like, his life is so monotonous at the moment. He is so longing for something else that it just doesn't even register on his radar. He's just like, oh, wow, like that's cool. That's just what happens here. Every day Finn and Jake are doing something. Like, the Candy Kingdom or Candy citizens have heard of Finn and Jake, or they see them. They're aware of their presence. It's kind of just a part of life in the Candy Kingdom. And he just can't even get excited about that. He's just like, I have to go and do this dumb sales job. I have to go do these like horrible, horrible things that I just don't look forward to. And it's a shame that that's his life. But I love that we get to see that, because I love getting to see the Candy Kingdom functioning on a level that isn't just magic and Finn and Jake's.
Yeah, it's not all like lollipops and rainbows as much as like Princess Bubblegum, I think, wants it to be that way. Like, in theory, she wants to be like, oh, my wonderful candy people. And it kind of shows at the end with her banana guard training. She has like confetti in her pockets, and she's like, and again, that might be my second tops of the episode, which is her moment at the end when she's just like, hooray, you did it. And there's just like confetti and sprinkles everywhere. And the banana guards are so clueless. But like everything is kind of this like lighthearted, and even though she's like doing like police training per se, but that's kind of how I think she envisions it. But now that the Candy Kingdom is huge, and that's what really stuck out to me in this episode the most, is that just like, what are we seeing in the Candy Kingdom in general in this episode? That at some point I was really trying to like look at the backdrops and how everything was like rolling around. I'm like, okay, so the Butterscotch Lake is like outside of the walls of the Candy Kingdom, but there's still like functioning things. There's like stores, and it's rolling. And it's so
the
as
law
much
of
as
the
we
land
just
applies, certainly. Like there are rules of you can't be out here after 8 p.m. The banana guards have a billboard saying that. Like, it's still kind of within the ownership of the Candy Kingdom, despite being that far outside of it.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that we just always see the screenshot of the walls around the Candy Kingdom, and it kind of just looks like this one like feudal society. And now like when we see him get on like, it's big enough for there to be a subway. It's big enough for their house to be like on the outskirts of the town. And I'm like, okay, so there's probably a lot going on that we aren't seeing of like towns and little cities and like functioning things outside of the walls of the Candy Kingdom itself.
Yeah.
But that made me think, my deeper thought was like, okay, now we're getting into functioning society of Candy Kingdom. And I was like, okay, that takes time though. Like, if we think about Princess Bubblegum and there being a time set of 1,000 years ago where the Mushroom Wars happen, so there's nothing. You will see a little bit, and I'm trying not to drop too many spoilers in here at all, of how she started the Candy Kingdom. And really what we've gone into on our Theoretically Speakings is we've seen it in development in the episode with Shoko, when there was like the radioactive like sludge going under the Candy Kingdom.
Right.
Now, if a kingdom is being built like that, obviously every part in a society has to play a part. Like, whether you're a government, whether you're protection, essentially, that there's not vitamin salesmen and there's not hardware stores. And even the place across the hardware store from what was his name? Buck. Yeah. There was like a cup of noodles place. Like in Korean, it said cup of noodles or something like that. And so they wouldn't have those things in a developing society, right?
Yeah.
That you would probably be
Certainly,
foraging for food, protecting, or acting in some sort of like government way, right? So what does that mean about the infrastructure of the Candy Kingdom? And I had ChatGPT, like, I just asked it a lot of questions about like developing societies. What would that look like? What are average time frames? To kind of be like, what are we looking at here? Really what we're looking at.
Okay.
To have like a working Joe, working Joes can exist in societies that evolve past substantive living. So like living for substance, essentially.
You're right.
That means everybody's not farming, foraging, or defending the kingdom from slime zombies. I'm like reading through a ton of notes too, so that's why if I sound like
no worries.
off right here. But the rise of the mundane is really, we didn't get that even in the real world until probably the 1700s on, right?
Okay.
When people started, like cities developed and like, what was it? Agriculture and everything existed 5,000, 10,000 odd years ago. The next rise up that we kind of saw after that was like the development of city, non-nomadic, like working in small sort of like city-based societies. So,
or at least in like a Western culture, right? Because obviously like the Romans or the Greeks probably had plenty of the mundane as well.
Well, not the mundane, I would say, in the sense of like vitamin salesman,
Okay.
Like if you think about like the average working Joe, like capitalistic, mundane society, that even in Roman times they had art and like literature but not like, hey, I have to go find a job that like doesn't necessarily feed or clothe people,
Sure.
That most of those jobs would be farming or agriculture or being a food salesman or hauling, food between and trading different, between like different cities and things like that too.
Okay.
So when does a working Joe show up in society is when you have surplus resources, infrastructure developed, economic stratification, and institutions. So those have to be set up as well. But yeah, so like cities in modern societies developed around like 2,000 or 3,000 years ago, kind of with the early Greeks, and there were cities and city states and things like that as well. So what does that mean in terms of our Candy Kingdom developing? How old is this society if it's really grown into the way that we have mundane root beer
or what
guys?
Stage of development is it in? Right.
Yeah. And she's got some curve breakers where it wouldn't take, I don't think, the full 1,000 years to develop in that kind of way, though. Like, Princess Bubblegum is super smart, super scientist, has like all these technological advancements. She can create her own people. So she can kind of like what we've been talking about, like create their personalities. She can be like, yeah, you like work. Like she can kind of write that into your DNA, like we were saying the other week. She has what we assume is unlimited energy from the radioactive waste. And without spoiling, kind of another unlimited resource as well. When it comes to like candy. That's all I'm going to say. All the fans out there will know what I'm talking about.
Right. And she also has the advantage of being in a society that comes directly after the fallout of another very advanced society, right? I think that probably helps a whole lot, is you have all this old technology that is still sitting around, and that she was kind of alive or present for the downfall of that, or maybe even just after that.
Well, yeah, you could probably, her scientific knowledge probably comes from like, probably several hundred years of being able to reverse engineer scientific technology that had existed from the past as well. And being able to be alive for that long and become an expert in it, of course, like you're going to be super smart. But a realistic Earth-based model, to go from post-apocalyptic nothing, it would take 2,000 to 4,000 years minimum to develop a society where there's the mundane working Joe. In a semi-accelerated magical tech environment with 500 to 1,000 years. So with that, we are sitting right in that realm of this semi-accelerated. Yes, she might be able to like reverse engineer old scientific stuff. The Candy Kingdom specific model being that she has the reverse engineering technology, plus she lives forever, or we think that she's pretty much immortal at this point. And the fact that she has what I would consider two like renewable resources, which is I think power and sustaining candy. ChatGPT's analysis said about 50 to 150 years would be what it would take to go from like building a society from the ground up. So I think there was probably lots and like hundreds of years where she probably spent in the Candy Kingdom with some folks, again, that I'm not going to spoiler you on anything. But I don't think that the Candy Kingdom's been running for 500 to 600 years. I think it's been running for maybe 150, 200 years tops, you know?
Did we have on the Shoko episode? I can't remember. Gosh, I should have looked back. I just wasn't thinking about this when we watched this episode. How far back in time that was? I wonder if there was a 300 years ago kind of a moment, but I, for the life of me, don't recall. So
I don't think it gave because I don't think it gave us a certain amount of years
like an
ago.
actual timeline of like how long ago Shoko was hanging out and doing her thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it definitely just felt like everything was like pre-developed at that point.
Right.
So like Ice King probably wasn't. Again, I don't know what he's been pitter-pattering around doing for those hundreds of years as well.
Yeah.
But the banana guards were green in that episode. Like
that was such a recent episode too. That was season 5, episode 34, The Vault.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, it was weeks ago at this point, but still, or months ago. Cool, man. I like that. It's interesting to think about how old the Candy Kingdom is and whatnot. And certainly wasn't expecting to get that this episode, but I get where you came into that.
Because like it's a fun episode and I love it. But I was like, okay, we went from it being like, okay, it's like a castle and some candy people around a wall into like this very complex society. And I'm like, okay, this has always been around. This did not just like pop up in the last like 2 years that Finn's been hanging around, you know?
Well, what stops Princess Bubblegum from creating capable candy people is a question that I have, because these banana guards are gosh dang worthless. They fell for Jake's in this episode. Jake has this awful impression of Princess Bubblegum where he's just straight up using his powers to create. I mean, you can see him stretching into this Princess Bubblegum sort of look-alike, like truly doesn't look much like Princess Bubblegum. And he is voicing, he's kind of puppeting the side of his body that's looking like Princess Bubblegum. You have the banana guards. Again, it's really just me ripping on the banana guards.
Directing traffic of just people like walking in a circle pretty much. Just
standing in the middle of the road. Like they literally are in the middle of the road. There's no cars and they're directing traffic. No one's really listening or paying attention. And there's no like reason for this. It's not like there's some event or a festival happening. It's literally just a scene of candy people in the street. I don't know. I was just so curious why she can't or decides not to make banana guards have real capable function within a police force capacity. But even
you'll kind of see that in about 2 episodes. Okay. You'll see kind of why her guard force is a little less like well off.
Well, she's got a pretty dang good what is his title at the end of this episode? Captain of the Banana Guards now, though I will say one of the most stressful jobs probably in the Candy Kingdom is being in charge of all these buffoons that are the banana people or the banana guards. But they do have one redeeming quality, which is their incredibly magical ability to lasso things. I don't know. They're Wonder Woman of lassoing. Truly.
The candy lassos.
It's incredible how you have Root Beer Guy out on his little raft at night on Butterscotch Lake, and somehow the banana guard is able to lasso around him, and the Finn and Jake boat that is way off in the distance, and they do it right around the engine and pull him back into shore. It's kind of impressive, and maybe that's what they need to stick to. They need some brains because they have the bronze, they have the muscle or the ability to capture things.
Yeah. Well, no, I think the brawn is there. Like you'll see that the banana guards are like way bigger than any other candy person. Like,
right.
So they are definitely the muscle of society. Just they need some direction and some brain there too. And right. I don't know. The other fun thing about Root Beer Guy and how this ties back to like banana guards is like him and cherry cream soda are a glass with like I'd assume he's a root beer float. I think he's not just root beer alone. Maybe.
Sure.
You see an episode where actually the creation of Root Beer Guy and cherry cream soda. But like, yeah, there's multiple facets of that. And does that make him smarter because he's not just like one little piece of bubble gum? Like he's got several dimensions. Character. He's a complicated character.
I like that. I was talking with Allie about this episode, and she kind of even drew back to season 4, episode 14, Princess Cookie, where this episode shows kind of the longing for something more than their lot in life or a desired identity. You have Cookie as wanting to be the princess and Jake as wanting to be a milkman in that episode. And this episode, you have Root Beer Guy, who kind of is innately expressing his interest or his desire by writing this mystery novel for the past 10 years. I mean, 10 years in the making of a novel is a lot, and he's even then struggling to finish it. It doesn't sound like he's even in Act 3 or whatever of this book.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is this like he realizes, or he knows, that he was not born a banana. He was not born into what is the guard class of this society, and therefore that is not his lot in life. He is stuck in whatever job he can come across within the Candy Kingdom, which is this vitamin salesman role. But he immediately, as soon as he starts investigating, or something triggers this thing inside of him, which is that desire to find and be a detective, and he immediately starts calling himself Joe Milkshake, which is the character from his novel. Truly, I think it's him kind of expressing that desire for something more, for him to actually become, this character that he's been writing in first person about for the past 10 years. I like that. I thought that was really fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, it's what we deal with in our careers right now. It's what we deal with in terms of finding a way in life, going to college for a specific career, is that right now in such a, what I've deemed as post-industrial quasi-modern society, that it's not just, hey, you're the family of the bakers. You have to provide the bread for everybody. That's going to be your lot in life. But more of a developed system, more of a developed city gives people the opportunity, but also it's opportunity, and it can be a weight on you of I have to find the cross section of passion of what I do with what I'm doing, or passion with what I'm interested in and what I want to do. And that's where we kind of end up with a little bit of an existential crisis with working.
And I think that's even partially a privileged perspective. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's just kind of occurring to me, because it is true that you and I are in a position where we can kind of think about what is going to give me some sort of satisfaction and allow me to make the money that I need to in order to live and prosper, and hopefully retire at a reasonable age and all that sort of a thing. But some people aren't given, the privilege to even consider that. They're like, I just got to get a job. I just got to make money. I just got to work.
Well, it's the privilege, but it's also the way I think, again, even with our society and how we've structured and how we function.
But we're this middle class that went to college,
But yeah, and that's why it's weird that it's looked down upon, that when they're like, oh yeah, servers or waitresses, oh yeah, they're probably not pursuing their passion. I'm like, maybe they are. Maybe they do really want to do that,
sometimes. But even then I struggled, my family were pest control people, and that's what we did for 3 generations. And me being the 4th generation, and all my cousins and my sister, none of us went in the pest control. None of us wanted to do that. The family business dissolves, or sells off as it did. So there is this kind of I struggled for a long time. This is what I was born to do from a young age, as we've talked about on this podcast. I wanted to be a bug man. That was my thing. That's just naturally what happens as you grow up. I become bug man number 4, in the line of bug people. And I chose not to do that, certainly. But that was a really hard decision. But also I do even think, for me personally, it wasn't I had to. I was in a privileged position to not say, oh, I can't not do it. My family will be ruined if I don't go into the family business or whatever. My dad was able to say, do what you're passionate about, pursue what you feel like you need to pursue, and figure out who you are. And that was, I was lucky to be able to come up to Nashville and try and pursue music, certainly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wonder if in the Candy Kingdom, you really don't have a choice. There's all the banana guards are bananas, or half bananas, or whatever they are.
I think that you do, what we're seeing with Root Beer Guy is the introduction, and why I am focusing on the society aspect of it is obviously he wasn't just made to be a telesalesman. I don't think Princess Bubblegum's out there being and this is your job. It's now grown into a position where it's I've made you as a candy person, and you can chart your own path to a degree. And But to your point, going back to like where I see the Candy Kingdom developed, why it like mocks our own society, mimics our own society, is the fact that like if you're not living in a society where the Tyndalls do pest control, and if Russell decides to not do pest control, there will be no pest control, because that's kind of probably a lot more of that like smaller feudalism. Like you were the baker and your families were the bakers because you know the craft of the trade, and if you don't carry that on, there will not be bread for the citizens. And that it's like crucial, and it's this huge plug into how like the system works. Like you have to be a blacksmith, otherwise there will not be blacksmiths. Like that's kind of where I'm saying that it's not, like I didn't want to downplay, because what you said about privilege is absolutely true as well.
Yeah.
But more in the sense of, okay, it's set up in a society where we thought it was like so monarchical in like a small little system where everybody has their job, and everybody has to do that one job for it to function, that there is some sort of corner of society where there's some candy person out there making money off of candy vitamins, some CEO running whatever Pfizer is in the Candy Kingdom.
Oh no. Yeah. Right. What are these candy vitamins? Are they made out of candy? Is it just candy supplements? So like if you need that, what is it? Red 30, go, go get your,
but that's also
Swiss
why
fish or whatever they're called.
Why we're a capitalistic democratic society, because it's probably really hard to do that.
Right.
And you see it in places, I think, like kind of like, still developed countries, but you get born and then you turn a certain age and they're like, this is your job. Like the government says so. Mm-hmm. Like you can't say like whatever the government, the king, the parliament, whatever it might be, gets to deem what you do for a living,
Yeah, from a very, very young age. It's cool. I like to see that. Yes, I like to see that there's a little bit of capitalism in the Candy Kingdom going on. A little. They're competing.
And you see there's an episode down the road where you see what happens when they're developing as much society. They don't really need Princess Bubblegum.
Yeah,
they don't really need a queen princess figure if they can run in a very like capitalistic, self-sustained way. But to your first point too, they're also just walking around in circles in the street needing direction from banana guards. So it's just hard to see both sides of the thing when, there's so much complexity to Root Beer Guy and Cherry Cream Soda and the jobs they have. And she's a lawyer. Obviously, she's like, she said something, I've got a big case to open tomorrow or something like that.
Disposition in the morning.
Disposition in the morning.
Yeah. It's so interesting. This is such a fun conversation, to be honest. Like what Princess Bubblegum is doing, and you're saying like she eventually, like the Candy Kingdom will outgrow her or whatever. She's testing the Candy Kingdom security system is her thought, which again, this is such a random crime that occurred in the middle of the night. No one was there. They do have cameras, but like even so, it's not a good test. And maybe it is a good test because it just shows a massive flaw in these banana guards. No one noticed Princess Bubblegum was gone. I don't even think anyone in the castle.
Nobody noticed.
There's no moment where like even Peppermint Butler is like, holy crap, because that's what would happen. Obviously, if Princess Bubblegum was missing, you would think what happened is Peppermint Butler or somebody who's pretty high up in the government would go, where's Princess Bubblegum? We haven't seen her in weeks. She didn't say she was going anywhere or something like that. And then you would have this investigation would occur. Maybe they would eventually come across the tracks from Jake Carr and
I think they would have come across they obviously missed the CCTV.
Yeah.
That if Root Beer Guy just walked in there and picked up a tape, the Banana Guards didn't watch that tape. But they're obviously just filming stuff and throwing the tapes into a pile and not like watching it back,
It's such a big Candy Kingdom as well. I don't imagine they would find that matches back and the tracks and go, oh, this is what, like, there's nothing there that says Princess Bubblegum to me. So I don't think there's anything that would trigger them to say, oh, this is why she's missing. It would just be another like, oh, tracks in a field or whatever and matches. They wouldn't have any reason to investigate if it wasn't for Root Beer Guy hearing the scream or the wail of Princess Bubblegum. So it's like a flawed test anyways. It's just not a very good test. And again, worthless banana guards for the most part, but it's interesting that Princess Bubblegum set this up and it's just it's not good. It's just a horrible test.
It's a horrible test. But then the fact that it's Root Beer Guy that is the one that did the test, she immediately promotes him to the captain of the guard. So that was kind of, I think it was telling. It wasn't even like her intent there, but she was, as she's looking for a new captain of the guard, obviously.
Yeah,
she doesn't trust anybody.
That, or she just totally realized like, oh, these guys are worthless. Like they need somebody who's got a little bit of brains or substance.
I think you've been introduced to like the old guard, the like Captain Candy Corn guy.
Yeah, a long time ago, I think.
He's kind of, I think he's been like the captain of the Banana Guards for so long. But there's a couple episodes too where you see he's kind of like lost his mind a little bit. So I think she's kind of trying to fill his shoes to a degree. I think the Tart Toter is similar in that degree where he was some sort of like decorated military, decorated police, whatever, and he lost his mind.
Yeah. This is a really interesting episode too from Root Beer Guy's perspective, because he is just this guy going through, you know, the stages of life, just truly just going with the flow. Whatever happens, happens. It doesn't seem like he has any big ambition for anything at the time. Minus this like internal struggle to want to write mystery novels or something, you know, and he first hears the scream, goes, sees the kidnapping of Princess Bubblegum by Finn and Jake, the two heroes of the Candy Kingdom. A little while later, like the next day, I guess, Finn and Jake are staring at him while he's working through the window, or at least that's what he's seeing. Yeah. Is, again, the hero is just looking at his place of work by chance. And then he goes out there, confronts them, and they're just like, oh, we were home last night. Like, there weren't any witnesses. Like, you know, really sketchy. Which is super sketch.
My absolute tops of the episode was Finn being, you ain't seen nothing.
Right. His intimidation roll. I love that. He's like, let me just roll intimidation, this D20 real fast and see with my, what is it? I can't think of what modifier that would be for intimidation. Maybe it's intimidation modifier, but or charisma, I think is what it would be, just to see if he can convince this Root Beer Guy they'll just like settle and leave it alone. And then later they show up at his house out of nowhere and they're wearing these suspicious costumes, and you know, Jake steals the tape and it's just like, you're not supposed to view this tape. Like, it is a really sketchy, creepy moment for him, because these are the heroes of the kingdom. As we said earlier, everybody has heard of Finn and Jake, or like their presence is known within the Candy Kingdom. Yeah. And all of a sudden there are these bad guys.
They're the bad guys.
Is captured and he's freaking out. And then he follows them to what my tops of the episode is, which is Pudding's Hardware with Buck Pudding. And they buy all these super sketchy items that are very condemning. I don't know. I love it. I think it's such a fun viewpoint to go into what Root Beer Guy's seeing and just live in his world for a moment. What was I have the list somewhere of the different items that they bought, but of course I can't find it in my notes now. I'm going to come across it. Just you wait. Never mind. Don't wait now.
No, I'm good. No, yeah. It's so weird to watch our heroes, like who we think are heroes, and you watching it from the lens of watching it for the first time. You're like, something's wrong, or these are people in disguises or something like that. But so dude, go ahead.
So in the shop, Finn and Jake, again, this is my tops of the episode. The whole scene with Buck Pudding and the Pudding Hardware. Finn and Jake go and they buy a shovel, they buy a saw, they buy plastic bags, duct tape, a bludgeon, a map, and rubber gloves. It's very sketchy. And then
I don't even think a bludgeon is an actual thing. It's just a bludgeon is what you call anything that you can smack somebody over the head with.
Right. It's just, I think, just like a thick part of a stick or something, you know, like, I mean, so of course, Pudding is so sketchy. He's talking about like butterscotch. He says, like, right now, Spot, I'm going to do my starchy voice, I guess. Right now, Spot, like butterscotch, miles from where anyone could hear you or hear a person scream. And then a moment later, he goes, nice place to hide a body if you're into that sort of a thing. Like, dude, I mean, he's almost my lovely of this episode because it is such a good scene. It's so wonderful. I also love the coworkers. But I think, you know, we would be remiss to not just have Root Beer Guy.
Yeah, I think he was my like lovely of this one too.
Yeah, he's great, and I love that him and his wife have a wonderful night dancing, and she's so happy for him with his promotion, and all of a sudden she believes in him. You know, I'm sure at one point she believed in him, but it's like back to like, oh, you know, you're not insane and also ruining our marriage by not paying attention to me, and their marriage is back on track, and that's a wonderful thing. I'm happy for them too.
Well, and it's tough, man. It's why this story is like more compelling than some other adventures, because the hero in this one is Root Beer Guy. He's going up against the odds, going against Finn and Jake. Like, that's a big deal. Like you said, they're well known. They're supposed to be trusted. He has everything to lose. That's, I think, why he's like the big hero in this story, is that he's got the job. He's got a job. He's got a wife. And he'd be like losing both of them. He's about to lose the job because he's disinterested and he's too obsessed with his crime stories as well as this like real crime that's happening. Cherry Cream Soda is like on the verge of leaving him. And he's finally like, I got to lead. And she's like, oh, you're just making this up in your head. And stories that are told with heroes that are like, I'm going to do the right thing because I know it's right. And like this one it's so tough because it's like, oh, is it just his passion? Cherry Cream Soda is like, this is just you obsessing over something. And we're watching it as the viewers being like, just rooting for him. So like pun intended, we're rooting for him the whole time to win, because we're like, we don't want him to lose Cherry Cream Soda. We want him to keep his sweet life. We want him to repair his marriage. We want him to be more than just a salesman that in 11 minutes summed up, like they make Root Beer Guy this guy that you're really, really like cheering for at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's got a good life, truly. Like, he's got a really cool wife, who I don't know. She seems one.
Who wants to cosplay at home, Yeah,
she's willing to give anything a try. She's like gung ho about like reinvigorating the like spark in their marriage. So he's got a great situation. And yeah, I don't know. I'm happy for him. I'm glad this all worked out. I do wonder, though, at the end of this episode, if he goes back, now that he is in this situation where he's in charge of the banana guards, is he going to give up on his novel, or do you think he uses this as inspiration to continue to finish his novel?
That's specifically why they have the typewriter and the trash can at the end of them.
I didn't notice that. Okay.
Oh, as they walk away, the cat waves goodbye. And they pan to the trash can, and it has the typewriter in the trash can that says the end. So
okay, dang, that's awesome, dude.
I answered your question off the bat.
I didn't notice that at all. Holy crap.
So yeah, he gave up on his like mystery writing because he's like, again, I think he was more about this like the story. I don't think he wanted to become a great writer. He just wanted to like just be in the detective role. Like he wanted to role play, and the only way he could do it was through writing. Not like, oh, I want to share stories with the world. It's like, I want to be the detective, which
it's inspiring. Him, Princess Cookie, Jake as a milkman who needs to go back to being a milkman.
I know. But I mean, that's why I love going into this and being like, it's not just doing our C-list character, like one-off stories is so great that like, actually the more development we have in our C-list characters, the more depth it puts into our A-list characters.
Oh, I love this episode. This is a 4 out of 5. I don't have an item.
4 out of 5 cherries on top. Cherries
on top. Ooh, there you go. 4 out of 5 cherries on top for sure. Yeah, I root for Root Beer Guy. Truly, he's a little bit of a hero, and I'm excited to see.
I love that you're in that position too, because
I want to see what he does.
There is a more heroic Root Beer Guy episode coming up.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say he's got to come back. Like he is, because obviously the Banana Guards have been in so many episodes, and this is canonical. Like he's now in charge of them. So
I know he was referenced in the Fiona and Cake series.
Oh, was he really?
In a moment, and so I'm glad that you've kind of forgotten about that moment to not try to draw off this episode and try to like put 1 and 2 together without the middle.
Right. What is Fiona and Cake? I don't even remember.
Yeah. What is that?
No, other than a good show. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, dude, good episode. Excited for Review Guy. My lesson for this episode, as we said in the monologue, it's always trust the itch in your fizz.
Always trust the itch in your fizz. I like that. Yeah. I don't know if I had a big lesson at the end of this one. But really it's kind of like, if you believe in something, fight for it. And that's kind of the same sentiment as yours. But like, don't let the man get you down.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, Ned, what do you give? Is this a top episode of the season for you? Do you think?
Yeah, I think it may make it in top 10. I would believe.
Okay.
I got to go back because like now we've got to do our when we wrap up our season, we got to go through twice as many episodes to put our top five list together. Right. You know.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot, but I'm honestly looking forward to it. I think this season has really kind of blown me away. I'm really surprised at how many quality episodes have been in. What when we were going into season 5 was really intimidating of a season. There's just so many freaking episodes. So I'm looking forward to it. But Ned, as you know, we have a Patreon, and I actually haven't showed this to you yet, but I'm excited. We're going to send some of these out to our top donors, just the people that have been in the Patreon for the longest amount of time. I've only got 10 of them, but I'm sure we can get more pretty easily in the future. We've got these little acrylic magnets.
Yeah, that's cool.
I don't know if I can. I'm not looking at my screen, so hopefully you can see that. Yeah,
that's cool though.
Anyways, it's just the Never Ending Adventure and an Adventure Time podcast of like, the little icon you see when you click on our podcast. It's going to be sent out along with like some sticker stuff if they don't have them yet for anyone that's a part of the Patreon. But this is going to be just for our longest top donating people. And we'll do something cool. I've got, again, other ideas for cool little things to send people. Like once we hit, like if you've, over time supported us enough for $100 or whatever, like we've got another item that I want to send out that is kind of in the works. I'm waiting for some artwork from someone who's been really, really busy, aka Allie. But she's been so busy and stressed. I just haven't been pushing it. And also like she's doing it out of love anyways. So,
she's not charging you.
Yeah, I'm not, it's not in the forefront. We're kind of in a crazy part of life right now with lots of change. Obviously we just got married. And as I told you, the company I work for is going through an acquisition, which isn't exactly a fun one for me. So I'll be looking for fun new opportunities in the future. But regardless, we'll keep moving. It's good stuff. Instagram, if you want to check us out, Never Ending Adventure podcast. TikTok at Never Ending Adventure Cast. It's funny how as 46 minutes have gone on, eventually I realize I start to mumble. I start to like chill out. I get into like, oh, we're just hanging out and talking about Adventure Time, as opposed to, oh, welcome to the podcast.
Your tone shifts by the end of the episode for sure.
I think I wonder. We probably both do it to some degree, but I know I'm way more personally like animated at the beginning. That is definitely a thing.
Yeah, you the ones where you open the episode up, you're like the highest level of voice. We have to start every episode off at 125%. Like
I'm trying to get them. I'm trying to hook them. You got to hook them.
The episode we're into NPR Ned and Russell podcast. Follow us at
almost.
Never Ending. It's son of a gun.
Yeah, exactly. Twitter, NEA_podcast. Email us your thoughts, your opinions. Get on the Travelers Log at NEA.travelerslog@gmail.com. Y'all, thank you so much. Ned, this episode, it's been a minute since we've taught. We've had some sickness, you and I both.
Mm-hmm.
What's your rec for this week or for the past couple of weeks? What have you been into?
My rec's a little bit of a throwback this week. It's Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Whoa, I was just talking about that yesterday.
Not the PS2 one, but the which is phenomenal, which is the best one.
Right.
But actually they just have been still revamping. Star Wars Battlefront 2 came out for like PlayStation 4. Yeah, PlayStation 4 in 2017. And they've continued to add like new levels, new characters, like
oh man, that's
keep
cool.
it like vamped up. And in the last couple of weeks, there was a huge online trend to get people re-downloading the game. And be like, look at this. There's this huge resurgence of like thousands of players online at any one point in time to encourage the developers to actually go forward with their Star Wars Battlefront 3 project and be like, look, if you make it, people are going to play it. So like there's been a huge resurgence of people back online with Star Wars Battlefront 2. So I picked it back up this week. Cool. And I was like, it's not my favorite game ever, but I was like, wow, that's even for a game that's almost 10 years old, like still incredibly strong, like looks good. And I was like, I really hope they make another one for sure.
It's a really good game. And I think my issue with shoot 'em ups and really just in general, like online play, is some of my favorite games like Halo 2 or whatever are outdated now, or it's been so long that no one is on the online play where you're trying to like do
Yeah,
online battles,
exactly.
or any to a significant degree enough to where you don't feel like it's the same 20 people
Yeah,
that
and they
are
usually
only
with games
playing
like
it.
that now they'll close the servers after like
Yeah.
15 something odd years.
Yeah, and it's just not inspiring to want to get back into it and earn the achievements and all that. But when I haven't heard of this. That's so cool that they're like trying to get people back in the Battlefront 2, which I really do think is one of the best games of PS2 era. And PS2 is one of the best selling consoles ever. So that's really cool, man.
Well, yeah, no. So again, this was PS
But
Star Wars
it's the new
Battlefront 2
version. Right.
new version.
Right,
The original version still like it's standalone. It's a fantastic game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. My rec for this week. So I went on a little beach trip, and Ned couldn't go because of a work meeting, unfortunately. But I, as I do, I'm goofy when it comes to my reading. I like to set up and like get, a glass of tea or whiskey and like get in the zone to like read, to try and inspire myself, because I'm just not much of a reader, to be honest with you. But I had just finished a book. I just finished Percy Jackson, the first one, per Allie's recommendation, one of her favorite books. And I think that was a rec on a previous week for me. Mm-hmm. So I was like, we're going to the beach. I want to read a classic beach, like pirate novel or something, And so I dove in The Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson.
I read that years ago, and I remember it being great.
It's really good. I'm halfway through right now. It's from 1883. But as you know, there's a Muppets version of it with Tim Curry.
Oh, dude, I just watched the first time the Muppets from like
Christmas
2011.
Carol, right?
Well, and yes, we watched Muppets Christmas Carol this last Christmas for the first time, and now it's like one of Jackie's favorites.
Yeah, it's really
those
good.
Muppet movies are so good.
I'm stoked. Honestly, my inspiration now that we're not at the beach and I'm not just like chilling with a drink reading a pirate novel, it's now I need to finish this because I really, really want to watch the Muppets movie with Tim Curry. I'm so excited. I just kind of did a little bit of Googling again. I don't want any spoilers. I don't think I've seen Treasure Island, the movie, or the Muppets movie, or anything like that, or at least not since I was like a little kid.
I definitely wrecked Treasure Planet on this podcast before.
Well, I know Treasure Planet is kind of basically just Treasure Island, but like outer space, right?
Yeah, it's outer space Treasure Island for sure.
Yeah, so I will watch that as well because I will happily revisit the story. It's very interesting. I love the like mutiny that's happening and Long John Silver, and then you have all these like classic pirate lines that I don't know if I haven't looked into it. I don't know if they're from this novel or if it's like like they got the inspiration from somewhere else. But you got
I bet that they were popularized by that novel for sure.
Like the yo-yo or yo-ho-ho and a bottle of rum is from this novel.
Yeah. I like in terms of that still being a pop culture thing. Like, and it's probably a little crazy. Like if you think about it, like there was still pirates like leading up into the late 1800s, like that is kind of like the end of when pirates were a thing.
Shiver Me Timbers, I think, is a thing that Long John Silver says.
And by like 1820, I guess, is probably when they started like phasing out as like actual like what we think about as, but they're terrorists. Like they're
for sure the pirates that we romanticize, or they were buccaneers that were hired by governments in order to fight against like kind of as mission or not missionaries as
mercenaries
missionaries
of the government. Yeah, they were like
missionaries for Christ,
but they were like fringe society mercenaries. Like think about mercenaries that like went off and like lived on a camp by themselves and had like micro societies that still functioned, like, which is wild. So but they were like borderline, like, and they wouldn't just be like mercenaries will go out and do like actual like war stuff, but these would be like, oh yeah, go and like pillage and murder a bunch of like poor Spanish traders because we want their tea off their ship. Like that's crazy,
right? Yeah, or if you see like another government's flag flying on a ship while you're out of the ocean,
blow it up.
Go blow it up and steal whatever they have. Like we don't care. And yeah, it's shady, but I love it, and it's oddly romanticized nowadays. And I think this novel even kind of romanticizes it a little bit, but it doesn't shy away from like murder and terrible things happening. There's a moment where, and this is nuts. I'm sorry. It blew me away. It's a single paragraph, and it's Long John Silver confronts, he's Tom, I think his name is. They're like having a conversation and they hear someone get murdered a ways away. and Tom is one of the hands of the ship where he hasn't turned to the pirate side. He's still a good guy at heart. And he's like having this conversation. They hear the murder occur, and he goes, "What was that?" And Long Nose Silver's being really creepy or whatever. And he goes, "Holy crap! Like, this is bad. A mutiny is going to occur." And Tom turns around and tries to run away to go like warn them at the ship or whatever. And Long John Silver takes the crutch, because he has one leg. He has a wooden leg. Takes the crutch from his arm, uses a tree limb to fling the crutch at this guy who's running away, and it like cracks his back or breaks his back or something, and the guy's on the ground, maybe dead. And I'm like, how is that possible? That's the most insane like action moment I've ever seen. Like, talk about using your environment to your advantage. This wasn't just like a D&D, I'm rolling to use my sword. This was like, I'm going to be super insanely creative and roll a D20 in order to kill this guy. Like pretty epic. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm really enjoying this book. Well, Ned, thank you for joining me. And obviously, I know this wasn't, that's not much of a task. I know you enjoy this as much as I do.
Thank you for joining me. Yeah, I'm a special guest this week.
Special guest, Ned. Yeah, this is my podcast now. I'm a pirate and I'm taking over. But also, thank you all listeners for sticking around with us. If you want more content, me and Ned are going to be talking pretty soon about Skrillex album.
Yes, we're doing a deep dive. We've had some good music ones too, and I like to push Russell out of his comfort zone with some albums. And so this one was definitely an out of comfort zone album without you having to do screamo and punk music again. So I figured we'd swing a different direction.
Skrillex is dead.
Skrillex is dead.
So if y'all are interested in that, check it out on the NEA and Beyond, which is our Patreon podcast. And we'll see y'all soon. All right. Buddy forever.
Love you guys.